Cricbuzz Chatter with two men in black. Actually, one young man in black and one's just around watching cricket for a while. Okay, dare I say, actually, here's breaking news for you. An electronics engineer and someone who passed chemical engineering exams. How much do you remember electronics?
Not much at all.
Okay, we'll focus on the game. We'll focus on the game. What an exciting test match we've got. When play started today, India 21 for no loss. It seemed to go away from them. Then it got pulled back a little. Then seemed to go away again. It's been such a fabulous seesaw test match. And at the end of it all, I don't know. My view is Australia maybe noses ahead given the nature of the surface. I thought that last 1 hour they played fabulous cricket after India had that fantastic partnership between Axar and Ashwin. Where do you stand? Where's the game just now for you?
It's a really tough question. I'm generally one to answer anything that's asked my way. And why I don't say Australia is slightly ahead, because things turn so fast and it could happen tomorrow. We could end up chasing 120, 130 and we wouldn't be surprised. That's how the nature of this pitch is. But, when you get a wicket, there's a couple, maybe three at times. And you saw the brilliant partnership between Axar and Ashwin. We wouldn't be sitting here discussing who is on top if not for that partnership. And that was brilliant to watch. But just the way this game has unfolded, every day comes with a lot of mystery, and it goes without saying, but I thought really this series has been one that's been mouth-watering to watch.
That last 1 hour, because the game was on a knife edge. Just one run separating the two sides. I mean, you took the new ball and suddenly, boom, India gone. It looked during that Axar Ashwin partnership that India might actually end up getting a lead at some point. But I thought Australia played that last 1 hour beautifully. Travis Head went out. The best time probably bat for him is with the new ball. Then Labuschagne came in, and strangely in this test match, they've taken on Jadeja, which you don't see too often. How crucial will this last hour's batting be in your view?
I think of utmost importance for Australia, because midway through the inning at 139 for 5, you thought that Australia had run away to a point where India would find it hard to come back. But then India, as usual, the lower order batters contributed, came back in the game. So when Australia went into bat, the momentum was definitely in favor of India. And when a team like India with its gun spinners come to bowl at that stage, you expect 2 to 3 wickets. And we're discussing this, figuring out which team is slightly ahead, because we all expected 3, probably 4 wickets in that 13-over spell. Just the one fell, and that too to an innocuous shot. But the one thing that Australia showed through and through when they batted was the fact that Travis Head batted beautifully with intent, and so did Marnus Labuschagne. They played some shots. In 11 overs, they batted at 5 runs an over, and that was what was really good to watch.
What I found interesting was Ashwin took the new ball. We just figured out Ashwin has 154 wickets when he takes the new ball. That's more than some fast bowlers take over a career. But I thought he was just angling it in. He turned one ball that went right past Travis Head. But did he not bowl sort of the off break enough?
I think Ashwin would be very disappointed with the way he bowled probably this evening. And I say that because he bowled full. He didn't bowl mini short, but he did bowl full. I think somewhere he thought that he knew he could get Travis Head out. But Travis Head, in many ways, I think came out all guns firing. He stepped out. He made use of the crease. And the good thing about Travis Head is he's not stopping himself from playing shots that he knows to play. He's not changed his game too much. And it could backfire. It could. But for the moment, till the time he's lasted, the one thing Australians are short of is getting runs. And I'll again say Ashwin is somebody who can definitely cause trouble for Australia tomorrow. But the one thing, he needs to pull his length back a little bit.
Well, Ashwin, the batter, was excellent today. Ashwin, the bowler, maybe a touch disappointing. Maybe even Jadeja, end of the day, Australia just came out with the intent. By the way, that's the way Travis Head batted right through the Australian season. On days when nobody could score runs, he was scoring at a strike rate of 100. So I just think opening the batting in the forced absence of David Warner might have liberated him a little bit. So we'll see what happens to Travis Head tomorrow. But I thought that by two people. We'll talk about Nathan Lyon as we go along. But what about that partnership? I mean, wickets were falling in clumps. India lost 3 after an opening partnership of 46. Then a little partnership. I thought Kohli Jadeja. Then again, you lost 3 wickets in a clump. And then that Axar Ashwin partnership. How often is Axar doing it? We saw in Bangladesh. We saw in Nagpur. Now we're seeing it here.
Yeah, I think we've seen how good he is with the ball. From the time he started his test career, has been phenomenal. But with the bat in these last 3 test matches, must admit, he's taken off a notch. Don't know if marriage has helped him. Only he can answer that. But for the moment, he definitely looked a touch above everybody else in the confidence that he had in his defense and mixing attack with that. And he looked very comfortable through his innings. Even if the ball beat him, you could see a calm sense of demeanor. And for a number 9 batsman, that's not something you associate. We all knew he had batting talent, but in the recent past in West Indies, he played a blinder in one of the ODIs, and he's come back and done it again in ODI cricket, where he almost pulled off a heist in the recently concluded T20 against Sri Lanka, and his batting seems to grow. And you get the feeling that he keeps the game simple. So when he gets that confidence, he holds on to it and uses it for as long as possible, which is great to watch.
Now, there was one moment in commentary today when I think Axar had just taken on the left arm spinner, hit him over long on for a 4, hit him over mid wicket for a 6. And DK said, hang on, I think he can go over cover as well. And he went over cover that over, didn't he?
Yes, Todd Murphy it was. And I could get the feeling that he was going to go over covers, because that's one of the strong areas. People think that he only hits probably the slog sweep, but the 2 good shots that he played was one, obviously the one where he stepped away and went 1 over extra cover for a 6, which was beautifully played. And also the use of cut shots, because cut is a tough shot on this wicket. You wouldn't find timing that easily. And a lot of people have missed cut shots, but he was on it consistently. And that was really good. Because of his height, he'll also get those balls. And half a bad ball, he was putting it away. And that was putting pressure on the Australian bowlers.
In many ways, this test match so far the story of the test match has been some brilliant catches that have been taken. And yet the story of the test match is also catches that went down. I thought Australia was sleeping a little bit in the slips, to be honest. They were standing everything going by their boots. But you saw KL Rahul take 2 excellent catches. The game turned again today with 1 Renshaw catch and 1 Pat Cummins catch with that new ball. And then we saw that wonderful catch by Shreyas Iyer. But we've been talking so much about this lower order strength. Each of the 3 spinners being able to pull it back. Should they be needing to pull it back so often? Is there an issue with our top order at the moment? I mean, I thought today Virat Kohli batted as well as I've seen him bat for a long time. Looked very, very assured. But if you look down, KL Rahul is going through a bit of a patch. Cheteshwar Pujara got runs recently, but in his last 15-20 games, averaging 30. Virat Kohli is averaging 25-30. Is there an issue with that top order?
You have to say yes to a point, because the off spinners have actually troubled India over a period of time. It was left arm spinners to a point, but now off spinners have trouble. But you see the way they're getting out. For me, Pujara, twice in his 4 ball innings, there was a big appeal for LBW. One where they didn't go for the DRS because they had already lost a couple, and this one they went for it and they got it. So it is a bit of an issue. But what was also really good to see, 2 key batters. One is Rohit Sharma. He looked comfortable while he lasted. And also Virat Kohli. I thought he batted magnificently today. I think he got a really rough decision. We'll discuss about that in time to come. But till the time he lasted, he looked very assured, very sure of what he was doing. Had a game plan, how he was going to play the off spinner from around the wicket. And that was really good to watch.
It was. But as I said, the wickets falling in clumps. There's also a brilliant catch. I talked about great catches. But I thought one of India's best players against spin in recent times is Shreyas Iyer. How good was that catch by Hanscom? Now tell me, do those catches just stick? Because it bobbled out a couple of times. He caught it again. Those catches are just meant to be. You cannot say a shot like, you know what, I caught it. The ball caught your hands.
Yeah, I mean, the first part of that catch was a lot of luck, because it needs to hit the body but not go down, just pop up. The second part of it, where he was waiting to figure out where the ball was and then take it, that was definitely his effort. But what was commendable is not only the catch, his consistency in fielding. He stopped so many singles from going from the short leg area. And the key for a short leg fielder is you got to enjoy it. If you're looking at it as a burden where you're just waiting for the session to end so that you can just pass it on to another person, then it becomes something that a really tough fielding position over a period of time. You see the good fielders always like to enjoy it. Like Tom Latham is a great example in New Zealand. Even if he's captain, vice captain, he wears that helmet and stands at short leg and does it for the whole day.
In bureaucratic parlance, it's called a punishment posting. So you've got to enjoy. Short leg is one place. Till Rahul Dravid went to slip, he used to pluck off some great catches at short leg. You have to enjoy being at short leg. Otherwise, the day can be very, very long and the body can be very painful sometimes at the end of the day.
And Harsha, interestingly, when you're just that bit worried, when you just want to leave, when you just want to pass the
helmet,
when the ball comes. Yes, and you get hit. Eventually, somewhere you'll get a ball that's going to hit you.
Says someone who's done the most difficult job, which is keeping. I mean, you can't close your eyes for 1 minute when you're keeping, because that is the precise moment when one ball will just nip through like that. So yeah, there was quite a lot happened. Right, let's take a question from you. On Cricbuzz Chatter, we get a lot of questions coming in. So this is from Lakshat Sehgal. Says, for 2 tests in we talked about this briefly as well, Lakshit. Axar, Jadeja and Ashwin have given more than valuable contributions with the bat. Should Team India persist with this combination? We say long tail, but luckily each of those can bat one number ahead of where they are batting. But can you do this in all conditions? I don't know if India have the option to do it in all conditions, though, DK.
India definitely don't have the luxury of doing it abroad. And B, you got to remember, they are all three names that you've taken in these conditions, especially when the pitch is aiding spin, they are a bowler first. Yeah. Then they contribute with the bat. So when you go into that mindset, their primary skill is to bowl well. Whereas if you go abroad, the primary skill for a bowler should be able to pick wickets. And if you feel that the spinners don't have much in the wicket, there is no point. And that's where Shardul Thakur becomes an important person, because he can give you the exact role to a point what Axar is doing, give you some overs with the ball, and obviously give you something with the bat. But the consistency that Axar is showing in India is not something Shardul has obviously showed up till now when they travel abroad. So the combination can be persisted with, probably a change in manpower, probably Shardul for an Axar. But we also have to understand there could be pitches where they just want to play the one spinner because there's nothing in it. Then it'll become a toss-up between Jadeja and Ashwin.
Right, tale of tales, isn't it? That Bumrah Shami partnership was something else. I mean, I'll tell you what, when 9, 10, 11, especially if they're Bumrah Shami and Siraj Khan, when they bat, everyone just forgets what they're doing. There's something very alluring about that happening. You look at all the others. Kuldeep can handle himself very well, by the way. That was in Bangladesh. And again, Shreyas and Ashwin, Jadeja, Axar, Shami. Shami's 37 came when, I mean, a lot of the hard work had happened. He swung his bat around. If you're depending on Shami to get runs, you're in trouble already. Then Axar and Ashwin over there. One of the issues also, Lakshit, is that our fast bowlers don't bat. All our spinners bat. He mentioned that they're all primarily bowlers. You could argue a little bit about Jadeja maybe, but even Jadeja in home conditions is pretty much 50-50 now, but also a bowler. Our fast bowlers don't bat. And I think that is why the great search in India, and I was having a chat with VVS Lakshman the other day about whether at the academy they're finding players like that. You need a fast bowler who can bat. And at the moment, the only one who does that to some extent is Shardul, because Hardik is not playing test match cricket. If Hardik had come in and his body could allow him, that would have been a fantastic combination. Okay, let's get into the talking point for today, because that is something that arouses a lot of emotion, arouses a lot of heated feelings. Let's get straight into the hot spot. What did you make of it? The Kohli thing. The Kohli
I just love the way you asked it. What did you make of it?
What did you make of the Kohli thing?
It's interesting. I saw a tweet and I found it funny. The tweet goes, there is just one person in Kotla who can just get the crowd to become completely quiet with just one finger, and that was Nitin Menon. And that was the decision. Yeah. Look, I feel, I do understand a lot of people going hard at Richard Illingworth because he's the third umpire. But let's rewind back to what happened. On first instance, when you saw it, at least when I saw it, I thought that was a really hard one for the umpire to give. But with the advent of DRS, they're becoming slightly more wild in their thoughts and believe that you have a DRS option, go for it if you want. And hence, he's backing himself to believe that would hit the stump. Now, the bigger question is, did it hit the bat first or pad first? If Nitin Menon tells me he was sure it hit the pad first, then I would be very surprised. But again, it was a really hard one on field. But the moment he's given it out, when you go back to the third umpire, then there should be conclusive evidence to turn that dismissal around. And I don't think there was conclusive evidence. So then you have to stick with the umpire's decision. Yeah. The interesting part is if Nitin Menon had not given it out, and if DRS had been taken by Australia, well, they didn't have the option, but in case they did, it would have remained not out.
Yeah, now the question is, if he had gone not out and he wasn't sure, did he go out over not out? Because Australia did not have the DRS available to them. If he had gone not out, Australia could have done nothing about it. I wonder sometimes if that plays in the umpire's mind, the number of reviews that are available with respect to the decision that they gave. But I agree entirely with DK that it was tough to call. And the moment he gave it out, then the only question was, is it going on to hit the stumps? Some people have suggested on Twitter that there is an ICC, there is a law, one of the laws of the game, and a recent amendment says that if the impact is at the same time between bat and pad, then it will be regarded as having hit the bat. But the question there was there a marginal moment, a tiny moment when it went pad bat?
But that's the thing. If you
Yeah.
do see the spike,
Yeah.
the what do you call that, Harsha?
The spike, yeah.
The spike that came through.
Yeah.
It was a small spike at the start. Then the big one. The big one suggests the bat. So the small one has to be suggesting that hit the pad first. At least that's what the third umpire will imply, and he has to go with that. You have to have conclusive evidence to say that hit the bat first, and he didn't have that. So he went with what the umpire had given, and the decision was given was out. So if at all anything, I think the peeve in a way should be with Nitin Menon for going ahead with that decision. But I'll also say this, it is a really hard one as a batter, because I thought Virat Kohli did everything perfectly, placed his leg on the leg stump, didn't go far to win, kept it on the leg stump, and defended a ball that was meant to be defended the way it had to be defended. And if you start giving that LBW, then it gets really hard for a batter to defend left-arm spinners from there on.
The one thing I will say, though, is if there had been a biggish inside edge, Virat Kohli would have gone up straight away, because the batter knows that there's been an inside edge. If you notice, he was looking at his partner and he was sort of suggesting it's going down leg side, isn't it? And he took about 5 or 6 seconds to ask for the review. Contrast that with Rohit Sharma's decision yesterday when he went boom like that.
Exactly.
So I think Virat thought that it's probably going to be missing leg stump as his primary reason for
absolutely. That's the confidence he has in his footwork and his game plan, because he was sure that his leg was on leg stump. So if it's hitting him on the leg stump, he believed it was going down the leg side, and it was in fact clipping. It wasn't even like it hit the center of the stump. So it was a hard one for Virat, and it was a very interesting moment of play for India as well at that point of time.
He was batting beautifully. I mean, it's a while since we've seen Virat as assured as he was against spin today. So who knows, if there's a biggish run chase in the second innings, maybe this 44 will stand him in good stead. So there you are. The India's trouble started with an off spinner. And we've long talked about this whole Ashwin and Lyon, how Ashwin bowls the saucer ball, Lyon bowls the overspin ball. But today, Lyon took the ball, and KL Rahul, Rohit Sharma, and Cheteshwar Pujara, not once, twice, but as far as the scorecard says, once. He had 3 for 8 at one point, finished with 5. Did he get the measure of the wicket? He went predominantly round the wicket, by the way. He was almost throughout round the wicket.
If you remember the conversation yesterday, Harsha, I told you that Nathan Lyon is going to be very important, because this pitch will suit him, and it did suit him. And you could see right from the outset the speed at which he bowls, the kind of revolution that he gets, and the bounce with the consistent nature of turn that this pitch was providing. That was what was going to trouble the Indians. And you could see straight away all 3 wickets playing for the turn, sometimes playing for the straight one, but the ball consistently turning and troubling that front pad. And now that's a real tough angle to play. But what Virat did beautifully was come inside the line. But Lyon bowled really well. The speeds with which he bowled, and that is what is tough as an off spinner. He could have all the experience that he had, but you could see he was getting tired towards the back end of the innings, and the same revs he wasn't getting, the bite from the wicket he wasn't getting. But with that new ball today up front, he was actually unplayable at some points of time. It was really hard as a batter, because not only was defense difficult, attack was difficult as well, because wherever you're going to hit him, he wasn't giving you anything outside the off stump. You had to take on long on or deep mid wicket, and that's a big chance if you're going to do that.
I was actually quite impressed with the left armer as well, Konaman, in his first test match. He picked up that wicket. Maybe you can say a little bit lucky with the Virat wicket, but I was quite impressed. I think sometimes when you come from spin unfriendly conditions as a spinner, when you grow up, say Daniel Vettori is another example. If you grow up in areas where spin is difficult, then accuracy becomes mandatory. And that is why I think some of the overseas spinners do well in India, because they have to be accurate to survive, because they grow up in conditions that are not very friendly to spin. So there you are, Lethal Lyon versus India in Test. He's got 8 fifers. He actually went past 100 wickets against India. Nowadays, of course, Australia play India and England much more. So he's gone past 100 against England. He's gone past 100 against India. Now, where does this leave this Test match? Let's go into fast forward. Lead of 60 odd. The very first question that comes to mind is, what is the number beyond which India will feel seriously threatened? That is something over the last 20 years we've asked so often as games go into 3rd and 4th days. What is that number that India will not want in front of them? But before we get into that, I think we're going to see a very different Ashwin and Jadeja tomorrow. They will sit today and say, no, we didn't bowl well enough in the last 40-45 minutes. And I'll be very surprised if we don't see a completely fired up Ashwin and Jadeja tomorrow morning.
Oh, I cannot disagree with that. I think they will come out all guns blazing because they'll sleep over this. They'll think what they did wrong. And I personally feel they got a little fuller than what they should have. And they'll come back to that, get their links right. The moment they get their links right, with the ball being semi-new right now, 13 years old, I think it'll be a handful for the Australians. And if you ask me, if I was in Team India's dressing room, 180 would be the ceiling where I would feel comfortable. And after that, it's going to be uphill, I feel.
180?
Yeah.
Okay. I've got one other thought. As the game went along, there was more than one ball that scooted through. At least 5 or 6 just hit the deck and went through like that. Which is why I wonder, how is Rohit going to use his spinners? Because someone like Axar might actually come in handy tomorrow when the ball is going through. So how will Rohit use his spinners?
I think that's going to be the biggest question. Not only how he uses the spinners, which is very important, also the fields he sets. He has to set an in-out field, because if he attacks too much, runs will go fast, and that would mean, India chasing a lot more than what they would want. Axar is a very good option tomorrow, and I think he will be a key bowler for India tomorrow, and that's mainly because of his height. Because not only will he get purchase from the wicket, he'll also get the other way where the ball starts scooting and he'll get the odd LBW. Because the one thing the Australians seem to be doing is sometimes play back to a fuller ball, and that they cannot escape from if they do that to Axar Patel. So Axar is going to be key for India. I feel 180 would be something that they would still find it hard, I promise you, because it's not an easy wicket, and Lion with the new ball can be a handful. So it's going to be a lovely game and a lovely day to look forward to.
What a test match we've got. I mean, I must say this, big crowds in Delhi and a contest every ball. So I've enjoyed that side of it as well. This is where we are. It's only been 2 days, by the way, and we've seen 21 wickets go down, and that could happen much quicker as the game wears along. India have 3 spinners, Australia have 3 spinners. They're just 60 runs ahead, 9 wickets in hand. But one thing we've seen in this test match, and DK alluded briefly to it, not just this test match, you see it all over India. When the game starts to move, it moves very, very quickly. So let's see what happens. That first session, they'll use a roller. I don't know if the effect of the roller will last for a while. Watch out for Axar and watch out for rejuvenated Ashwin. And let's see if Australia continue playing aggressive cricket. We'll be with you tomorrow evening once again on Cricbuzz Chatter. Cheers.